in the past, the repression, depression, more laws, more jails, more hopelessness, poverty in society, until it reaches a certain period. You live that law, maybe like the law of the Bible. You do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You could murder somebody on the rails, and chances are they'd never catch you because you caught the next train out. You'd be in a big city, and what does it show? Transit killed. They don't investigate that. So there's a code. It's like Vietnam. When everybody was packing, it was amazing how well everybody got along. This idea of getting back on the rail, it gives you back down to more of a true humanity. Down the rails and stuff, people don't ask other people their name. They don't get into your personal life whatsoever. They might say, where are you going? Just to get conversation, but they don't get into your business, and a lot of them are on the run. And people don't like to give their real names. You know, there's always that Slim or Steam Train or Caribou, Mountain Jewel, and stuff like that. Well, they say handle back home is bear grease, being from the fact that I was from the mountains. And it's stuck ever since. I was born in Washington State. That's where I was born. Americans are made up of transient people. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Probably dead set in the middle of the United States north. Minneapolis is one of those difficult places that they keep extra bulls and special agents on there because of this being this halfway point. It was definitely a hot yard. Talked about a lot. The High Line, regular railroad terms, is your high track. Anything that's on the High Line is going to move. But they also use that same terminology for traveling on the northwest up from, say, Minneapolis to Seattle. And you can travel that route that goes up through Fargo. You go up to Minot, you go to Havre, then from Havre to Whitefish, Spokaloo, and so on, and that's about it. Basically, the High Line goes through Minnesota, North Dakota, and Montana. This time I got out of Minnie with Caribou. Scott, old friend of mine from the Seattle area. And Scott and I were on our way back from Britt, Iowa, the Hobel Convention. We arranged to hook up in Minnie and ride some of the ways back to Seattle.
See you next time.
Scott is friendly. He has good natural wit. Talks a lot, more than I do. Almost to a point where he becomes very uncomfortable in silence.
Room service.
Doing the fucking Holiday Inn, huh?
I think that's it.
This time when we got out of Minnie, I used the old Seattle Slim technique. The guy who first rode the rails with, good old man. Caribou, he went and checked the knockers. He said, oh yeah, they're departing down at that yard. And here comes a hot shot, and we just got it. You know, get me out of Minnie.
on the High Line. But why would he start heading west? He dropped a lot of shit off on the way. I kept moving up the train, so I lost a couple of days there. There's definitely a switch up here where you either go north or you go west.
Scott caught some of that grass growing wild along the tracks. Stuff that grew during World War II, the hemp making rope. Right alongside the tracks, it was like 7 feet high. For me, it wasn't bad because I don't drink, but Scott was happy.
Or you can dig for 2 days. Snow back here is heavy. It freezes, it melts a little, it freezes. Melts a little at the day, gets a little soft, compacts. Then at night, it gets so fucking cold, freezes solid. There's ice.
Scott and I go back quite a ways. I knew Scott when he was like 15, but sometimes he gets bizarre, chancy, risky. Green sunglasses, round, look like John Lennon, and carrying a pound of weed with him. I said, Scott, you're gonna have to walk alone. Who knows where the hobo goes? Standard answer for somebody that, says, out of the clear blue, goes, hey, where's he going? Where's he going? Like getting too inquisitive, and you go, hey, who knows where the hobo goes? And there's something that does something to people, even if you look raggedy and you got a few teeth missing and you're walking off that rail. There's a magic about that hobo thing because they can still kind of imagine living in the rain and when it's cold like it is now, and the snow comes and Jesus Christ, they're going to eat mission food and so on. But I like it because it keeps your shit hard.
Looks like someone had camped here. We was here with Station there.
Here's I got Seattle Slim, Bear Grease.
Bear Grease. There's mine right up there.
Yeah.
Ben the Bandit. Pan Shakely. And it sounds like a drunk.
Crazy Larry. Hippie Leo, I know him.
KGB. Killer Greenbud, that is.
Love all, trust if you do wrong, they not.
I wonder who wrote that.
Hey, probably some smart fuck.
Probably some fucking one hell of a hobo.
Yes.
Ride a train.
And a good fuck to boot. Is that yours too? Seattle?
Yeah. Next stop, Helltown.
Yeah. Fargo used to be a good town because there was very few people that passed through Fargo. But it just so happened being a small enough town, a lot of these guys ride this DNA check that they get, alcohol check, crazy check, and they could collect that check in a day. That's when you're sane enough to live within society, yet you're not together enough to be able to get up every morning and go to work. Consequently, the word spread, went down the tracks. Pretty soon, instead of like 15 bows going down to the place to get a check, you had 300. Then you had 500. And it just seemed like this last summer, that particular case took place. And all of a sudden you had 500 bows all getting drunk. Not all of them, but you know, the ones that did drink, which most of them do, and partying on the first of the month. Next thing you know, they're breaking wine bottles and people were breaking into places, and the townspeople, along with the railroad and so on, the cops, they had enough. So they put on a real hardcore discouragement shot. They couldn't stop the checks. But what they could do is they could get you for loitering, they could get you for vagrancy, they could, the bulls up in the Dellsworth yard, which is just up the line from Moorhead. If they caught you on the train, you got 5 days automatically in jail. No questions. You automatically did 5 days. It was a definite place that you had to be leery, had to watch out. Police followed you out of town. So they wanted to get the idea across to get them out. You're not wanted here. And sooner or later, enough discouragement will be made, they'll leave and it'll drop back into normal.
I don't know, but I'd like to get something warm to eat.
U.S. Constitution says no money shall be drawn from the Treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law.
God bless America.
Seems like they've, what the hell is a deficit anyway then? Ain't it money that they spent that they ain't got?
Yeah. Who knows what'll happen?
Gunman robs woman near Fargo Bank.
Want to help me next time? That bag of money was pretty big.
Ooh, maybe we see what the weather's gonna be. Oh, man. Oh, they got...
NASA ready to launch after getting judge's okay. What the hell is that about?
Got a high temperature, high area though, through Montana and here and through North Dakota. So let's see, winter hits northern Rockies. Man, we're gonna hit a hard winter down Rockies, man.
Is that that's gonna bring the cold in, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be cold all the way across.
Drop by as much as 35 degrees in the Rockies.
Well, we'll have to get some more blankets, maybe.
I got one more.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be enough, though.
South Dakota is about the same, 30s and 40s, into the low 20s at night. So we're gonna have to get out of this town so we can build a fire somewhere.
No wonder what kind of laws they got in North Dakota.
No, they're all right.
Oh, shut up now. I can eat as much as I want.
Yeah, I know. So when y'all gonna get married?
I ain't gonna marry him. I ain't gonna marry no man creature.
The mission in Fargo got started by some woman who donated to people who are on the rail. Actually ended up to be a home base for a lot of guys that didn't leave. Like they call them in the book, a home guard. But it was a nice mission. The food was good, and they had a little church next to it, and people seemed very friendly enough for the city like that.
Where you guys headed down south?
Oh, Montana. Crossed over, actually, to Manassas, Washington. Picking apples that night. Go down to the missions, and you talk to the guys, and some of these guys rode every rail there is to ride. Some of that information is good. Some of it pays off, some of it don't. You have to listen. It is quite a telegraph, though, because you pick up what yard's hot and who's been killed. This last trip, there was quite a few people got killed, mostly crushed in cars. This is one reason why Burlington Northern and these other outfits are really trying to discourage the riding.
Yeah, just stay behind the Dellsworth tower, go around that fence line, then when you'll see jungles on the left, and just get off in them. Don't sit around.
There's a bull come up in there, too.
Yeah, he's about this tall, about this wide,
Is that right?
and his gun's about that long.
Yeah. I see him going up down the deal. I was here last summer, coming out of Iowa, and he was had that spotlight going up and down.
Between April 1st and August 1st, there was 800 applications for that check. 800 applications.
love President Bush.
His ruby red lips are just the way he signs the bills. We put a lot of people in a bad position because they fucking taking away rights, left and right.
Left and right.
And they don't give a people a chance to say what they really feel or how they think.
Paul Harvey put it a good way one time. He said, it's like a big piece of bologna. They keep taking away a little right, a little right, a little right, and everybody says, oh, that's just a little bit, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Until finally you're down to the skin.
So
And they say, well, what the hell, all we got is the skin left, so why not take that?
You see that old jug of nitrate in there?
America's. I commend the young people today for not really just getting totally fucked out. You know,
Most
the
young
government-
people want to do a good job.
But there ain't no
they
jobs
have-
there for them in the first place.
And if there are, they're programmed to do what they're told and not to do quality. And fuck, you know, they can't.
At least during the Kennedy
They can't
time,
go to work with a little bit of pride because their pride is in their back pocket if they want that job.
Right.
Otherwise, they go without work.
Yeah. Then if you
That's
go
it.
the other way, you're misfits. Somebody will come along like Kennedy, though. It has to get poor enough and bad enough.
That's
that,
just what we
people
need.
will fucking
You know,
revolt.
the old people, man, my grandma to say that, man. We need another Kennedy. We need someone. We need someone to slap this fucking people, these politicians, and say,
Well, what they're getting away with now, taking away these rights without anybody voting on it. Who the
well,
fuck are they?
It's just,
Dude,
maybe that's why we live the way we do.
Yeah.
We take them when they're there, and we have to. Now, what the fuck? There's one person gonna say.
Nothing.
That's just dead. What the fuck's 10,000 people gonna say together?
Nothing.
Well, what they do say is gonna be fucking backed up by what?
Nothing.
That's it. You can't do nothing about it. It takes everyone to do nothing.
We walked out of the city of Fargo up to Dellsworth and had to go way back in the bushes to catch one out of there because that was hot too. At one point, we couldn't even hardly go on the tracks. There were so many bulls with surveillances. You know, you had to hide in the bushes to catch a train and sneak out. Even the car knockers hooking up, which are normally pretty friendly, would say, hey, careful, the agents are on there. They're up and down. Well, then if they know where you are and they know you're here, eventually they're going to be out here, right? And they're going to be looking for you. They can harass the shit out of you if they want to. It's not if you're going to jump up there with a lawyer and go what's legal and what's not legal. You're hopping their train and you're trespassing. They could actually shoot you, you know. I mean, if it really came down to it. That guy that shot you going across that rail is not going to go to jail. They might move him out of the county and the country, but he ain't going to jail for shooting you.
Oh. Low line?
Huh? That was our ride. Yeah, but there'll be some more coming through, he says. Well, he wasn't sure if it was going to go to West Fargo or not for sure. He doesn't know when they're going to leave.
But did
He just got on a shift. He told me about 2 guys that died last month were load shifted. So
Bows
he's-
or train
yeah,
crew?
2 bows. People in the yards.
Well, climbing on one, the load shifted on him.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Slammed him, the load shifted and smashed him.
That bull rides a green late model car.
I ain't seen him real impressed.
Huh?
People being around here.
He didn't? He wasn't too happy about it.
He doesn't, yeah. So the better we get on a train and get out of this fucking yard, the better off we're gonna be.
Yeah.
Period. There's gonna be something else to meet him shortly here. if we, if we could take a chance. You take care. That one's going to Jamestown. This one's mine on. So we're leaving right after a bit here. Good. Yeah, I was talking to him. He said there's a little snow over there in Montana. They got a little bit of snow already.
We gotta watch it.
On what? You got to stop where you fall apart. What do you think, man? You could have shoved him down there?
Well, it's going along with the tractor. It's on the highline. Why do you come off the highline?
There's a lot of renegades out there, that really bring down the name, stealing, stripping copper, even getting to the point of rolling old drunks and stuff. But you got some good ones out there, and that saying perpetrates it. The hobo works and wonders. Where the hobo started from anyway. He started from way back. Christ, it probably started way back in time, But as far as the hobos for the rail goes, most of the hobos built the rail. Back before the old man died at Burlington, he had a standard saying, hobos ride free. And that was like in the Cascades in that area. Because the hobos he depended on those hobos to come in to lay down the tile and the rails and so on, and they used a lot of manpower, and it's, so they had that saying, a hobo works and wonders, a tramp dreams and wanders, and a bum drinks and wanders. Pete told me that. I don't know where he got it from, but it's, not that you can't drink a little bit when you're a hobo. But it's the fact that when we're talking about drink, we're talking about a full-time job. The old-time hobo seems like had more honor, and probably for the fact that he worked. He went from place to place, and he worked here and worked there, and then he moved on. Where the modern-type hobo, a lot of them probably want to work but can't find it. So in turn, he turns around to the next avenue, which is food stamps, DNA check, blood bank, and so on like that. So it actually takes that something away from him where he's not really earning it, but it takes out of his personality. So maybe some say, why not steal? where the other ones had a chance to go out and work for it, and if somebody stopped and questioned about it, you know, they would say, hey, fuck you. I made my money. You know, it ain't your money. I worked for it. They had that kind of right.
Elevators and cars. I'd love to live here.
When you travel the rails like that, you know, you're traveling with another individual. And, you know, sometimes you get cramped up in those cars together, and sometimes you get down in those jungles together, and some of those places are not so easy to mix with civilians. So you just got each other. Pretty soon you talk each other to death. So the next thing you know, he's like, God, I just need to get a break from this guy for a while. So Scott wanted me to ride to Seattle. He said, no, I'm not going to ride that one. I'm waiting. I'm going to ride the next one in the morning. And he said, I want to go tonight. And I said, go. He said, nobody's stopping you. So he got really, you know, huff. The fact that he probably needed a break from me. We always departed friends, Scott and I. But he happened to catch that boxcar out, and I caught a hot shot the next day.
You wanted to be on the straight, but
Yeah.
hey, God bless you guys.
You guys on the High Line.
All right, we'll see you. I'll see you in
I'll see you in
Wenatchee.
Wenatchee.
I'll stay in Harrisburg for a day.
Kick a pig. Oh shit, he missed another. There's a pig right there.
Like the chance that you could ride with somebody, you know, and you can ride here and there, and you can have your thoughts is probably like being holed up in the city somewhere. Everything's moving so fast all the time that you never really have time to collect thought. And you ride with somebody else out on the rail, and you'll be sleeping, you may be looking out the boxcar or the grain car, and you think of this and you think of that, but there's always something to break it up, and it's dealing with that complete loneliness. And that first loneliness is kind of like a scary thing, because all of a sudden you're not used to dealing with just yourself. You know, and some of these thoughts that come through your mind, and you know, and all of a sudden, and maybe a little bit of a scared thing of, you know, you got to figure that even though you've done a lot of the stuff yourself before many times, you still all of a sudden think everything's up to you. You know, you fall asleep, you want to get off of Whitefish, then you got to stand by that boxcar when you get close enough so you don't fall asleep going through that town, or you know, little stuff, you know. But you start thinking those thoughts that you don't think, kind of like being out on a ship when you stand out on lookout, and all of a sudden you're all by yourself, and some of those thoughts come rolling through your mind, who the women you've been with, and who, you know, what they're like, and the people you remember. And like Bob Dylan said, you know, you usually remember the painful things that you've been through with people that bring you closer together. But it's those thoughts are just almost impossible to come by unless you're totally alone and dealing totally with yourself. You know, and you just it's hard to describe and how those feelings come into you, because you're looking around and there ain't nobody there. Minot in North Dakota is one of my favorite little towns. It's an old west type town, a real old town with old buildings. The people are generally farmers in that area, so they're fairly friendly. Anybody that's been through the hard life, so to speak. It's small enough that it's pretty easy to maneuver around in the town, you know, here. And plus the fact that it's a definite railroad town, so they're used to boats traveling in and out. Maybe probably because there are not so many people that come through or get off at Minot. Especially you get a lot of those guys that are traveling cross country do are following those checks, so they're just going from city to city. They don't get off at the small towns.
He drops low on this side there, on the grainer. We're sitting on the grain over here. He drops over on that side over there. No, I did. I had to hang on to his goddamn feet. Back up in here. Hang on to him, because he's gonna fall.
Yeah.
He slipped between the two cars. Just got him just in time. Because he's gonna be gone.
In Minot, a couple of local little gin mills that are located right alongside the track. They had some characters. Minot Louie, I've seen him time after time. You know, he's always going to ride somewhere, but he usually gets a little bit too juiced to make it.
Dummy?
Did he even realize, appreciate it, or did he go?
Yeah.
Oh, he did good.
Yeah. Said, thank you, Louie, help me.
Yeah, he bet.
That was he'd been gone.
Well, sometimes the guys
Oh,
don't even realize
Minot
it.
Louie.
You know,
He's
don't
got his
even
bedroll
say
and he's
that.
ready to ride. And he's part Indian, so of course I'm a little Indian too. That don't matter. But he's definitely been on the blues trail a long time, longer than I was. He gets just ready to ride, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, here comes another bottle. And by the time you look to, hey Louie, you ready? He's drunk or passed out. But he still's got this yearning to get out.
Jesus Christ. That's the bad thing to do.
Who is he going, head first into the rail?
Yeah, he was gonna go across over there.
And you got him by the ankle?
Yeah.
Lucky fucker.
You know me.
Good shot. It's a good shot.
Now, obviously, he's rode before, and he's also another one of these guys that if he's not too plowed, you can leave your gear right there with him and say, "Oh, Lou, you want to watch her? I'll be back," and he will. If he has a fifth with him, he might not be awake to watch it for you, but definitely trustworthy. And this last time, you know, he said, "Bear Grylls, you take me there to have her? You know, make sure I ride the same train." Yeah, Louie, I will. But then when here come the hotshot in, and when they change crews in Minot like that, they only take it like somewhere between 3 minutes to maybe 5 at the most. And then when a hotshot picks up, they pick up fairly fast, so you have to get right on it. You have to look up the line there to see what car you ride. We had to walk about maybe 100 yards. Old Louie started walking, and just all them drunks underneath him, man, his legs were wobbly, you know, and I felt for him. And I knew that if I didn't get my stuff on, you know, that if I went back to get Louie's stuff, we wouldn't make it, you know. And then plus the fact I've done that before with him, gone back and missed it, gone back and missed it. He's like that old soldier. He wants to die in the field. He doesn't want to die in a nursing home taken care of by the state. You know, some woman that's there comes in the morning and wraps your arm for pissing the bed because you're 92 years old and you can't help yourself. He wants to die out there with dignity. But he feels like he's part of something out there. There's a certain honor out there among the people that travel.
Time waits for no one, time never will. But moments of happiness can make time seem still. But time moves on swiftly, passes life by. While life rides the train, time always flies. Life rides the train, for some it moves slow. Some never find where their train of life will go. If it's bound to hell or to heaven on high. And while life rides the train, time always flies. As life rides the train, some get off the track for one careless moment, but never get back. until it's much too late. Time is passing by. Oh, while life rides the train, time always flies. Life rides the train, for some it moves slow. Some never find where their train of life will go. If it's bound to
Americans are made up of transit people. So many people change state to state, move around for the jobs, relocate. I started out traveling on merchant ships, Korea, Formosa, Japan, Philippines, Borneo, and went over to Vietnam. And when I went over to Vietnam, I got a job with hauling ammunition up the river, operated CAT. They actually babysitted the military. And then I met my old lady over there after a few years, married her. She was Vietnamese. Came back in April of '75, 3 days before it fell. That was a fiasco. In the last, say 10 years, for instance, raised pigs. I got a small little place up in the Olympic Mountains, and I got a 14-year-old daughter at home, Poppy. And the other two kids I've got are men in Wick. One's in the Air Force, and the other one's working at Sears. And me and the wife, ex-wife, we've been split for going on 7 years. The other two are grown up, but I still got Poppy. Well, travel alone between Minot and Havre was a pretty good mention because it's basically farmland without many houses. So you really don't have things to divert your thought. Usually your thoughts will whip back to home, whip back to things that you've done in the past, but whip back to your family life. Then you get kind of a melancholy thing where you can talk to yourself or you start singing to yourself. But this aloneness brings this kind of thought pattern out that you wouldn't normally get in your day-to-day life. Is too fast, too much involved, and here there's nothing. Outside of saying you've thought everything you could say, but there all of a sudden there's one more thing that hasn't been thought, and now you got that time to do it, like spending time in jail. Nothing else to think about except just to think. I think a majority of the people that do travel are older. And they travel from this to this and this, and they work a little here and they'll work a little there and they'll hold up for the winter. Usually I'm gone for so many months and then I'm back. And usually it's kind of like that old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think it's that shot that it's the fact that there's so many laws about do this, do that, don't do this, sign, can you see the sign? There's your dog shit on my neighbor's lawn and I'm gonna take you to court and you better fill out this paper and fill out that paper and do this and do that he wants out of it. All of a sudden he doesn't even feel like he's his own person anymore because of just the fact that familiarity breeds contempt. And maybe that's the thing that makes riding those rails kind of attractive because you're not offering Not so much a physical threat, but an emotional and a mental threat. It's freedom from this earth, freedom, not freedom to die, but freedom of gravity, freedom of air, freedom of different stuff. And it's kind of like that song, King of the Road. You know, ain't got no bills, ain't got no cigarettes, ain't got this, but then you don't worry about them when you ain't got it. You know, this planet travels 5,800 miles an hour around. We are a traveling spaceship, even though we're in an orbit. I think I heard that repeated one time on the history of flight. Even when they flew out over the Greek islands and the feathers that were made of wax and so on, and beyond that, the Wright brothers, that what is the goal of that? And it's freedom.
Hey, 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 hey. Oh, it's cold, 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 cold. Oh, it's cold, cold, cold. Hey, 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 over you. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, ha, ha, ha. Hot pussy, oh, yeah, oh. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Mountain Jenny. Hey, oh, hey, hey. Hammer, 22 miles. Hey, rock and roll. Yeah. And a little country. Slow down. Sweet Jenny.
Fire. Fire is the biggest, probably the first thing I look forward to. The biggest problem you have with fire is landing near the city because you can't light one up. But out here in Montana, it's loose enough. You just build a fire, get your shit laid out, you know, and get under cover so you don't get rained on. It can get cold, and even if you're not geared down too much, that fire is the biggest thing you think about. This place really has kind of a special shot for me because Pete and I have jungled up here a lot before. And Pete, you know, Seattle Slim's my old running partner. Trestle right overhead when the trains roll by. This is one of the places that Seattle Slim and I held over, going or coming. Any which way we were going. We've even doubled back from Spokaloo, from Missoula, jungled across the bridge, jungled back over there, jungled back where we jungled. So I feel good about this place. It's Montana. Their cowboy boots are a little thicker. Haver's a nice little town. Typical Western. In fact, I think that's where that song comes from, smack dab in the middle of Montana. And everything is close to the tracks. Even you ditch your gear and you walk up, you're right there in town. The town looks like the old West. It's all wood and boardwalks and so on. Not that I went to any, but they got like gambling whorehouses, all that kind of stuff in there. I didn't even gamble. But these people in Montana and Idaho are like workers. They're either working farming or they're working the oil rigs or they're wildcatters or whatever else. So they understand the hardships.
You have 10 cents credit towards overtime.
Hey, Warren. Ed again. How you doing?
All right.
Good. Hey, is Poppy around?
No, she's not.
Do you know if she's probably still over at Barbara's, right?
I think so, yeah.
You don't know if she's got a phone over there, do you?
God, I don't know the number.
Yeah. When is she supposed to be due back tonight?
Well, I don't know what time, but she said she'd be back. What time, I don't know.
Okay. Well, if you, what time, like after 10 is kind of, that's getting a little late, right?
What?
To give you a call.
At 10?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not too late.
All right, thanks, Warren.
All right, hey,
Yeah.
you got another unemployment check, and
Oh.
I left a message for
Oh.
but Poppy's got to take care of it. And,
Well, I'm going to give you a call back tonight.
okay.
All right, take care. All right, bye.
Have you had a chance to meet the Lord yet?
I've always known the Lord here in town,
You know
I
it.
got to, I deal with the Lord in my own way,
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he loves you,
I know that.
and he cares for you. Otherwise, a beautiful, nice, cool autumn day now.
Big Red out of Havre. Born again Christian. Seen the light. Stands about 6'4". He weighs about 300 pounds. He's got a huge gut. I really can't see how he could get onto a freight train at this time. And he's more of a home guard. He's found himself a home in the mission down there, and that's where he's going to stay for a while until the people, get so tired of him, get so rude with him that he might pull out. But I really doubt it. And I think probably at one time, he probably drank a lot, and he was one mean son of a bitch. And he probably somewhere down the line did something that he's really sorry about. Not because he turned towards Christianity, but just because he almost makes it a point, like a drug counselor who used to be an addict. They got to beat that drum hard just to keep their own self off of it. And he seems like he beats his drum hard to keep himself pumped up. That's what it takes, that's what it takes.
There's something good. I think Russia finally has made its point. They're sneaking in, playing the good side. They can get more with the honey than they could with fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Down the line, though, I'm calling it. Beware. They're going to come back and they're going to hit us hard without that name. They're going to come in under the fence. And
But they could feel
I
it.
think they're going to finally do it.
Really, because
We're going to drop our guards.
but we don't control people.
No, we don't.
Physically, we control them economically.
Right. But I think the things that are wrong about this country is that the rich are way ahead of the poor. This will always be. The middle class are way ahead of the poor. And the semi-middle class, which is in the poor, around 22,000 will always be. But the poor, which are struggling from day to day, from mission to mission as they travel, and these are the real poor, that don't have a roof over their heads and use boxcars for a roof. If things don't change, I see a revolt in the United States coming, where all the poor are going to get together. They're going to all meet in this one area, and they're going to march on Washington, D.C., and they're all going to come in by truck, by car, by how they can get there. They are going to walk on Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. won't be able to stop them, because they'll come with guns, clubs, knives, whatever they can get. And you'll have a civil war on your hands, and we're heading for another civil war.
It would be nice if they did it like Martin Luther King did it. Do it on a peaceful shot.
It won't happen this way. Peacefulness is not for this time. War. War is. And I'm sorry to say it, but war is. And we got to have a civil war right here in the United States in order to break Congress's back. And the best time to pull it off is when we're having a war overseas. This would break the backs of Congress, and it would really push us into a hole.
That's what he says. Probably, I think it's kind of like true. You take a people. Maybe this country has really got to be thankful that there is so much drugs and crack and everything else out in the street. Because if the people, what are people usually like if there's no alcohol? Not all people, but just the population. No alcohol, no drugs, no any kind of substitute for life. What are the people usually like? They're warlike.
Hi.
Hi.
Barb?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
How you been?
Oh, fine. Getting big.
Yeah, I heard. Hey, is Pop there? Yep. One more time? Okay. Hello, long-lost daughter.
Oh, hello, long-lost father.
Oh, hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, I heard you broke down and told Rhonda that you missed me the other day.
Yeah.
You broke down, huh?
I do.
Did you go to the orthodontist?
Yeah.
Did you?
I get him off in 3 weeks.
Oh, in 3 weeks. Good. Hey, you're still doing good on those grades, huh?
That's right.
All right. God, next thing you know, college, huh? You going to school tomorrow?
Yep.
You sure?
I'm
All right, so everything else is cool, huh?
Yep.
Farm's running good, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be catching a train out tonight. Yeah, we're going up in the Rockies, but, so I'll give you a buzz. Okay. All right, I'll talk to you in a bit. All right, take it easy, Bob. Bye-bye. I ain't getting married again. And I don't want the, who are you going with and don't. I'm not jealous, and I don't want them jealous. It's, to stay independent. And I try to really instill that in my daughters, too. My daughter now, because the other daughter's growing up, but be independent, man. Be your own person. Get some shit going for you besides just your ass, because the next thing you know, you're married to some guy, and he gets pissed off at you, and he's going to leave, and you ain't got no other shit going for you, so you're going to stay with this son of a bitch because you ain't got nowhere else to go. The 10 barflies, and I don't put them down, but the 10 chicks you meet out of a bar they take home when you fuck that are drunk, they're one of those other ones, if you have to wait 3 months, is worth it. Because all of a sudden somebody loves you. And they don't have to love you to marry you and picket fence, but for that night they do. And you love them. And that's worth hundreds of those others. Even though I can't say that I've done hundreds of those others. And I'm not saying because I'm good looking, just the fact that I sailed on merchant ships and went to, Korea and Philippines and all those places who have thousands and tons of whorehouses. And I loved them little whores. They were great. I mean, they were looking for a bond too. And I treated them well. I mean, I didn't get a lot of money, but I tried to get them off. I didn't just consider myself either. So, in fact, that was my goal, man, is to get one of them little horses. In fact, my whole goal, in fact, in life there for a long time, rather than being a pig farmer, I wanted to be a towboy in a Korean whorehouse. I really wanted that job. But fuck, that line was so long I'd be dead by the time I got it, so. But they were people too, I guess you can even refer to the Bible with Mary Magdalene, or I guess if you want to go there, but whores are people, prostitutes are people, and they're eking out a living, and what's your moral judgment of them and what their moral judgment of the deal is really not even related. Because they're out there surviving, Or maybe I took that attitude on from, I'm not a vast member in AA, but I think AA is a good organization, but that same saying they got, accept the things you cannot change, and change the things you can. And hope the shit you got the wisdom to know the difference. Come to think about, or maybe you answer questions, or you say things like that different at different times, I guess. But right now, in my mind, the big... Oh, take him out of here. All right. Junior engineer, I banged in cars. They send a memo to Burlington. Probably the loneliest feeling and the saddest feeling you get is when you haven't ridden for a while and then you start to ride, because it takes that 2 weeks or whatever it is to get adjusted in shape onto the grit, knowing what you're doing, putting up with the shit, and then you're up with it. But I would say the biggest thing is basically have nothing in your pocket. You know, because you always seem like you're generating something. If you go out and you chop wood, you make 20 bucks or so, you always keep that $5 rattled. It's like going into a bar asking for a job. If you can't go in there and get a cup of coffee first, they put you in another shot. It goes to show you that pride is more important than food. That pride is what can kill you. Don't steal. That's probably the biggest thing I preach to my kid. You know, if you got to bring yourself to beg it, then beg it, but don't steal it. I kind of got this from pictures where you see like this funny evaluation like concentration camps, where the people were just stripped of everything, raw. You know, women, kids, everything, naked. And you take all that nakedness and you take all that just standing there, man, with all your shit hanging. What do you got? All you got is your word and your honor. So I guess you could say that gives you dignity, you know, no matter who you are. Your personal honesty, knowing what you know inside is what you are. Knowing yourself. And then the next best thing to work on is liking what you know. Test for you. And once you come through that, you feel more strength in yourselves, the fact that you're surviving it. Peace to say it keeps you from suicide. Bare simplicity, right down to the raw.
Across the field, dreams. trouble.
Spokaloo. Spokaloo is a good place to go in, hit the mission, get provisions, and get out. I don't like Spokane. They don't hit you over the head down there. They just wait for you to pass out. Pete's got a name for them, the pickers that pick the pickers. So I'll wait for these guys to come off the apples and so on. And usually it's the guys that drink pretty heavy because they got a habit to feed. Walking down out the Yardley Yard in Spokaloo, walking up the track towards the bridge. Just got up near that little stockyard up there, and I seen this guy walking down. He looked all real familiar because we used to ride out of Pasco. And there he was, and I kind of looked at him. He didn't recognize me right off, you know. And he said, then he did, you know. And I said, "Hey, Duffy," and we shook hands and so on like that. I said, "You're still living under here?" And that's been 2 months since I seen him, and he had a regular little routine down. He'd go down and get his cans, make about $20 a day, hit the slab lab, the blood bank twice a week. And that was getting hard on him. And he's got quite a little past. But he takes care of business, though. He goes and gets his cans, and he doesn't ask nobody for nothing. You know, and that's the kind of guy I like.
If you see and I don't know whether you ever was on the trains with the airplane parts on it. They're going into Seattle. They got those fucking look like armored cars on it.
Yeah.
But that's the way you can always tell. You can tell this train's coming from Portland because it's just loaded with cars. And I bet you if you go over and look close, every one of them's either a damn Mitsubishi or a Toyota. But then, of course, it is very seldom that lumber goes low line.
Is that right?
Most of your lumber goes high line.
Goes high line.
Well, tired.
Yeah.
And I ain't really done nothing today. It's been a slow day for me.
Well, it's kind of like that. Kind of maybe rain, maybe weird day, isn't it? He homesteaded that bridge. That's the first bridge you usually kind of hook out bridge. So Duffy's kind of a sober guy. We got along good.
A fair and responsible deficit reduction package at the earliest possible time. But the new deadline
I saw him coming up with the cart, you know, and I didn't have very many cans that night. It'd been a bad night. And two guys stopped me. He says, "You serious about collecting cans?" I said, "Yeah." You know. He said, "Well," he said, "we got a few cans we want to get rid of. You know, so we live 3 blocks away." I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll meet you over there." So they gave me the address. I went over there. They gave me 48 pounds of cans. I mean, bags like you never saw before.
The rap music to the television.
No Yugoslavian recipe. Now, let me pour some of this water off here. That's your dinner.
Madonna appears in a public service announcement urging people to vote. Sounds patriotic enough, but the veterans of foreign wars, they're angry. She emerges from an American flag in red bra, panties, and combat boots, describing free speech as good as sex.
Goddamn gives a fuck if she comes out there naked. So what?
For Sunday, it's going to be cloudy with
She was the first one who ever started wearing a bra on the outside of the damn, you know.
What the fuck?
I tell you, the day that I fucking don't want to see some good-looking broad's tits, man, then I better go get my dick cut off.
South Carolina today forced the evacuation of more than 400 residents. Officials say the train leaked toxic chemicals that caused nausea, headaches, and loss of consciousness. So far, there have been no reports of injuries, and the evacuation order is expected to be lifted tonight. After a fire at San Jose State University in California today, the blaze reportedly began
It's all right.
on the 3rd floor of a dormitory.
If I could collect 438,000 cans, I can get me a set of dentures. I've been doing this for a while now, and I think in terms of cans. How many cans is it going to take for me to go buy this? How many cans is it going to take to buy me a pair of gloves? How many cans is it going to take to buy me a piece of pussy? Yeah. See? Everything's done in terms of cans or stamps.
It's worth looking in a phone book, see if they got a dental college around here. Sometimes you, yeah, I know University of Washington's got.
You know, Spokane, Washington. my adopted city. I was born and raised in the great state, the backward state of Kentucky. Yeah. And what is there to tell? Why I came out here on the trains? Well, I guess when I started this stuff, I lived in New York, and I had a couple problems. One of them was drinking. I used to be a hell of an alcoholic. Second was my marriage. I married a witch. I was a pretty successful person. Worked for a major advertising firm. Every credit card known to man. And thought I was happy. Couldn't leave the bottle alone. Part of my job, we had functions going on all the time. Lunches with clients. And I would never admit that I was an alcoholic. Anyway, one night, drunk. Sitting at the bar, drinking. Didn't want to go home because I was having a lot of problems with my marriage then. And the bartender, who was a good friend of mine, called my wife to come and pick me up. She came, didn't have a babysitter. She brought 2 kids. She didn't want me to drive. I insisted on driving. Got in a wreck. Killed my wife and 2 kids. I became worse than ever. Became a hell of an alcoholic after that. Lost my job, my home, everything I had. Went to nothing. Woke up one morning, gutter. Decided then I was gonna stop drinking. Didn't go to no detox program, didn't go to AA, just stopped. Do nothing to ever bring back my family. Everybody turned against me. Seemed like they couldn't keep reminding me of what I'd done. So, tried to start all over again and moved to another state. Remarried. Stopped drinking. Everything was going fine for a while, except I kept having these nightmares. Kept seeing the crash. Just drove me to the point where I didn't want to be around anybody anymore for any reason. I just wanted to be alone. Looking for a way. Never been on a freight before in my life. One day decided to hop one. Wasn't going nowhere. Got on it. Ended up in Pennsylvania. Seemed to be the life. 14 years ago. When I say I stopped drinking, let me clarify this. Still drink beer every now and then, once a week, once every 2 weeks. Don't drink nothing else. and now I'm doing nothing. Out here riding the train, traveling from state to state. Fucking former executive of a big corporation. Out here picking up cans, selling blood. Guess that's what this country's all about. What am I gonna do in the future? I ain't gonna do this forever. I don't know. That's why I'm out here on the rails. I guess I'll spend the rest of my life trying to run away from something that I did that I can never correct. I just might have well taken a gun and shot 3 people. I killed 3 people.
They do have a tendency to let them pile up just before the weekend. Oh yeah. When Friday, Thursday, Friday they roll like a bastard. Wednesday they start to roll.
Yeah, we'll definitely get out of here this morning.
I think so.
In any event, we will be in Wenatchee sometime today, or tonight, or tomorrow, or possibly Sunday, time for church.
You might have to go way the hell down the track.
No longer regard the U.S. and the dollar as safe havens. KGY, CNN Business News, New York. The Wall Street Journal. News and ideas you need every business day. And the 20-page guide, which tells you everything you want to know about money and investing. All for $34. Don't miss out on a special offer from the Wall Street Journal. Call now. Toll free in the continental U.S. 800-337.
My knobs fell off again. Shit. Now, I'll never know what's gonna happen in Iraqi. Shit. But it's such a relief to be out of this place.
Boy, oh, fucking back in the country again.
Yeah, we'll celebrate. We'll break out the flares. We'll cook a gourmet meal, you know.
Yeah, all right.
Why not?
That sounds good.
Make a pot of coffee, you know.
Hey, I still got some of that, some kind of soup in there.
Sit back, just relax on the trip up to Wenatchee.
We thought maybe we'd go to Wenatchee to pick some apples on the tail end of it. You know, maybe picking up props and something like that, just to get some money up.
It's a mighty hard road that my poor hand has hold. My poor feet has traveled a hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we rolled, and your desert was hot and your mountains was cold. I worked in your orchards of peaches and prunes, slept on the ground in the light of your moon. On the edge of your city you'll see us, and then we come with the dust and we go with the wind. California and Arizona, I make all your crops, and it's north up to Oregon to gather your hops. Dig the beets from your ground, cut the grapes from your vine, to set on your table your light sparkling wine. Green pastures of plenty from dry desert ground, from the Grand Coulee Dam where the water runs down. Every state in this union us migrants have been. We work in this fight and we'll fight till we win. Well, it's always we ramble that river and I, all along your green valley I'll work till I die. My land I'll defend with my life if it be, 'cause my pastures of plenty must always be free.
Wenatchee is an apple town, and that's where that little joke comes from, you know, where the girl's driving up and says, "Mommy, is that the hobo?" And she said, "No, that's an apple picker," because it's the beginning of the season. And then she says, about a month later, she says, "Mommy, is that apple picker?" "No, that's a hobo," because you get the apples picked and they want you out. Carpentry, cashmere.
Now, they say the apple harvest should be completed in a few days, so that puts that out.
Okay, well, yeah.
Let me see. Restaurant. They want an IRCA certificate, whatever that is, and I'm sure I don't have it.
Standard machinery,
These
carpentry.
are all out of state over here.
You gotta have your own tools. Must be 55 years of age. Well, oh no.
Forget it. Don't look at me. 55. Do you see anything in Wenatchee that could possibly,
Here's Wenatchee.
we could work into?
I'm looking.
Because if not, I do see down here where they're asking for
Color printer.
harvesting cauliflower, winter squash, but this is down in Oregon, you know, and I may head down to Oregon since there's really nothing that I see here in Wenatchee.
Yeah, I know. Most of this stuff they won't pay you for 2 weeks.
It was a good idea coming up here, but unfortunately, I don't really see anything that we could use.
Okay.
Through faith in Christ Jesus. All Scripture is God-breathed. No comprende. No comprende. So that the man of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work. Amen.
Amen. Well, Ed, you think we'll get a train today?
No.
You really don't?
No, I think we
Well,
It's Friday.
yeah, it was kind of cold last night. And I definitely have to catch out today. And I have decided that since you're going to Seattle, and I appreciate the invitation, but I have to get down to Oregon. I think we might have time for the coffee, you know, because...
Oh, you got business conference or something?
Well, no,
Executive meeting?
No, I just don't want to miss a train, you know, because I've missed so many trains and ended up on the wrong trains. I really think it's time I caught the right one for a change.
The right train, yeah.
You know. And plus, I don't think there's a bull in this yard, but I got to be careful with the bull. I don't see
Speaking.
a bull anywhere. Do you see
Oh.
a bull? Oh, here comes the train.
Oh,
Maybe
just-
that one's mine.
Just units,
Oh, it's just the power?
you know. You know, I don't. Did that guy say that nothing makes up for Spokane down there? I kind of doubt it too, don't
Well,
you?
I may have to walk up the tracks.
Well,
or,
I
or
mean,
down
but
this
nothing
way
makes
to the
up down
tracks.
there.
Yeah.
3 units, that's going to Seattle.
I mean, I'm serious. You know, I really think that I have to get going. So, I would stick around for the coffee, but, you know,
You're not going to stick around for a cup of coffee?
I doubt it. you
It
know,
must be
I-
that fucking...
I really got to get out of here.
Sure you don't want a cup of coffee?
No, I'm going to go down here in the yard and check out and see what's happening, you know, and probably catch up and down there. You know. It's been nice knowing you.
Well, you too,
Yeah.
Joe. You take
We'll
it easy,
probably
man.
run into each other again, you know,
Oh.
somewhere along the rails.
Sure will. You got no
Probably
smokes?
next year. Yeah, I got plenty of smokes. I got plenty of food, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay back to Spokane.
You know, I'll bet you, I don't know, but I'll bet you that bull ain't hanging around, you know.
And,
They're all packed up.
yeah. And you haven't put any surprises in nothing here, 'cause this thing's 3 times as heavy as when I brought it up here.
Oh, just a small snake.
I don't know what in the hell I'll find in there when I get back.
I don't think he's dead yet.
Okay, so you take it easy.
All right, you too,
We'll
Joe.
catch you on down the line.
All right.
Okay.
Take care of yourself.
All right. See you later.
Keep the wind to your back. And remember, if you got a broken rubber in one pocket and a rattlesnake in the other, don't fuck with either one of them.
Oh, I won't. Next time I see you, I'll have something cooked up for you.
All right. I enjoyed the last one.
You take it easy.
All right, you too. I want to make it a happy little homecoming for you, right?
Uh-huh.
But I'm going to mess you up, too.
Why?
Oh, because. Don't you know why?
Uh-uh.
You don't think I know.
No, I don't know.
You don't know what I know, right?
No, I don't know why.
Well, you don't know what I know.
What do you know?
What do I know?
Yeah.
We can check it out. You want to put Lyle on the phone, or you want to check? I mean, you know how many days you missed of school.
No, because I just
You
came
missed
in
a
late.
lot of days of school.
Because I came in late.
Yeah.
And he counted me as being absent. I
Yeah.
talked to him about it.
Yeah, I know. Staying with Barbara, and you're going to miss time. All right, so I want you home today.
Okay, when you coming home?
Oh, I'm coming home tonight. I'll be there, but I want you to go home today. I mean it, Bob. And what's the deal about the assault shit? I mean, okay, I sympathize with you in a way. But the thing about it is you know already the fact that we're on the line. What kind of questions did he ask you about the farm?
The cop.
What was the name of the cop?
Officer Friendly.
Officer Friendly? Who's he? I know who he is.
I know. He said he knew he worked.
So how does he figure I'm not in a normal environment?
I don't know. He just said that, he asked for my address and I gave it to him. He goes, oh, you live there? I said, yeah.
Well, yeah, you should have said, what makes you think you come from one?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And he was just like, I just don't think that you have a normal environment.
First of it's none of his business.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, man, the fact is, see, all of this stuff could be challenged to him real easily and anybody else. But you know what tears it down?
What?
You missing school. And you being late. It doesn't matter whether you made it or not or something, you're late.
Oh, I know.
And now am I going to have to go back into the court system?
Because he just talked to me about it. He just said, well, since you came in late, he has to count me as being absent, but he's not going to, I don't know, he just said that,
Well, because I asked him not to do anything until I got back.
he said that, I told him I came to school every day this week except I came in late.
He told me you did. I've been calling on you too. Is Barbara with you now?
Yeah.
Of course. Okay.
We're at school. What do you expect?
Yeah, well, I know, but it's just like, you better start thinking of the fact that you live out there. I don't care whether you hang around with Barbara or not, but you better figure you're going to have other friends too.
Okay, you're going to be home tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Maybe I am
toying with somebody's life, but everybody that is with somebody, everyone that has a kid toys with their life. In a sense, you're an influence no matter what. But I think there's a fine line there. There's that sensibility line, which keeps you halfway until it keeps you alive, right? And then there's that wild line that actually keeps you moving on. But there's that fine line where you can have that spirit and yet have that safety zone at the same time. And I just have to be me.
I'm gonna steal me a silver stallion with not a mark upon his silky hide. Teach him he can trust me like a brother. One day we'll saddle up and ride.
We still ride.
And we're gonna ride. We're gonna ride. Riding like the one-eyed Jack of diamonds with the devil behind. We're gonna ride. I'm gonna find me a reckless woman, razor blades and dice in her eyes, just a touch of sadness in her fingers, thunder and lightning in her thighs. And we're gonna ride, we're gonna ride, ride like a one-eyed Jack of diamonds with the devil close behind. We're gonna ride.
I'm gonna chase the sky forever with the woman and the stallion and the sun's gonna burn into a cinder before we ever ask the way again.
And we're gonna ride. We're gonna ride. Ride like a one-eyed Jack of